Good evening, all of you. Welcome to the next session for the parents in Epsilon India 2023. And here we have yet another wonderful speaker for all of you. It's my great honor and privilege to introduce Swamiji Anukoolananda. Anukoolananda Swamiji, he is a part of Chinmaya Mission. He's a monk at Chinmaya Mission. He is also the resident director of Chinmaya International Residential School, which I'm sure at least some of you would have heard of. It's the top second residential school across India. And he has been involved in various national level projects related to nation building. And he's a great artist. He plays mridangam. He is also a playwright, and he's one of the best communicators I've ever come across. And needless to say, he's an amazing teacher at heart. And his sessions for teachers, students, and students of all age groups are really amazing to attend. And as parents, we have immensely benefited from parent session from Swamiji. So he has a lot of amazing qualities. I'll not list all of them, but one of the very unique things that I've seen in him, which we seldom are able to see in school leaders, is he remembers every child by their name in the school. And you can always see him busy with work, or you can never find him kind of not in his office or not in. So before people start working, I've seen Swamiji very closely. So before anybody starts working, he'll be on the desk working. And when I go to CIRS, sometimes he'll say, "Okay, Vinay, let's meet at 11 o'clock to chat." I tell Swamiji, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little old. So beyond 11 o'clock, it's beyond my capacity. So he's a very dynamic person. He is also into sports. He plays tennis with the students and staff over there. And I'll not take more time of his to for this presentation. So Swamiji, we are very happy that you are here. I'll hand it over to you. Over to you, Swamiji.
Yes, thank you very much to Vinay Nair for this kind introduction. And my salutations to all of you who are here, who've joined this session as a series of parenting workshops along with children's classes as well. So first, my congratulations to Vinay Nair for organizing such a wonderful program along with Epsilon and bringing the best to all our children. It is said that when opportunity meets talent, there is success. And talent, of course, is available in many different places. But only when opportunity strikes, that talent gets the chance to express, and then greatness comes to manifest because of that talent. So an area that we did not have earlier, we have Vinay Nair providing us that opportunity, giving a direction to our kids' talents. So that's really a great work that Vinay Nair is doing. So thank you very much, Vinay, for this wonderful work that you have taken out of great passion. And I've known Vinay Nair for almost at least a minimum of 10 to 15 years, if not longer. So
15 years.
15 years now, and I've seen the way Vinay Nair has been taking his RAM Foundation as well, and collaborating with people across the world to do wonderful things. So I wish Vinay all the best to continue so much more of his work. So now to start with our session, I'm going to share some thoughts which come to my mind when it comes to bringing up children. You could very well question me asking, Swamiji, are you married? So I would have to answer, no, sorry, I'm not married. So Swamiji, do you have children? So then I'll have to answer you, of course, I'm not married and therefore I don't have children. So Swamiji, how do you talk about parenting? Are you a parent? So then I'll have to answer, no, I'm sorry, I'm not a parent. Right? But I have a very great solace that a doctor doesn't have to go through cancer to treat cancer. Same way, a doctor doesn't have to go through a particular disease to treat the disease. If the doctor knows what the disease is and he can treat it, then he is good enough to treat it. So don't worry, parenting is not a disease and bringing up children is not a trouble. Of course not. It's the greatest joy of life. So I am from Tamil Nadu by birth. I am from here, and there's a very beautiful Tirukural, right, which praises the joy of having children. So it says, Kudalinidi, Yadinidi, Enbar, Tammakkal, Madalai, Sol Kelar. So that is a verse. It says that only people who do not have their own children, who have not heard to their own child's voice, will praise other instruments as producing great, beautiful music. So only people who have not heard their own children's voices will say, wow, the sound of flute is beautiful. Wow, the sound of the veena is beautiful. But greater beauty than all of that is the sound of our own children's voices, which all of you have heard and all of you are enjoying through your own life. So it is said that the one purpose of human life itself is to bring up progeny. And this is what our Vedas say. So to have, to produce the next generation is the purpose of marriage also. This is what our Vedas say, and they're never shying away from such responsibility that is given to our generation. In fact, figuratively, it is said that joy is invested in the act of creating progeny, so that progeny continues and the next generation keeps coming. So Prajapati is bestowed with the opportunity to give joy in the process of creating progeny, so that progeny happens. So why progeny? So the whole point is that there are millions of souls that are created in this universe, and each soul is on its own journey towards perfection. So in the process of perfection, that soul has to take birth in a human body, and thus to bring life into this world as a human body is a service that we are doing to some particular soul. So we don't know who that soul is. We don't know from where that soul is coming. We don't know where that particular soul is going, but we have done a fulfilled a great responsibility by just bringing that soul into this world in the form of our own child. And I know all of you belong to a very special category of parents who produce children of great brilliance and intelligence. So to address all of you is even more special than to address all other parents. So I'm just now returning from organizing a national youth convention with around 750 youngsters of 18 to 28 years in Pune. So we had the best among the best of speakers coming there. So we had, on the first day, we had Ricky Cage. So Ricky Cage is a 3-time Grammy Award winner, and he is the only 3-time Grammy Award winner from India. Same way we had Shifali Vaidya, who is also a great and accomplished speaker on Indian culture. We had Jay Sai Deepak. Some of you would have heard him. He was there. All of them brilliant people of great achievement. So one thing that I was analyzing as to what have they achieved in their lives and how have they mapped their own lives and career. So that gave me a thought of talking to all of us about this one particular topic, the finding purpose. So that's the reason why we are deliberating on this particular topic here. So even to begin with, let me tell you that a child that is born in our or through us, the child comes with a past of thousands and thousands of births and thousands of impressions in their own lives. So let us remember that the child is there manifesting their own genetic, their own fundamental makeup, both physically and mentally. And therefore, let us remember, as said in the Bhagavad Gita, that every individual soul is a unique manifestation born to express their own uniqueness and their own peculiarities in their own lives. To some extent, Sri Krishna emphasizes this particular point in the Bhagavad Gita. To that extent, he says that the Prakriti, the nature of a person manifests, and what can Nigraha Kim Karishyati, he says. He says, what can even the reins of self-control do when the nature is at its play and the natural instincts of a person is at play? What can even control over that person do? So we have seen people drawn to what they are born to and manifesting their own tendencies as they are made to be. So in psychology, I'm sure yesterday, maybe Sunita ji also spoke about it. We have two things. One is called nature and the other is called nurture. Nature is what it has been produced to be. So our children, like any particular seed, has its own fundamental properties and has its own nature. For example, a mango seed will only produce a mango tree. And a coconut seed has to produce a coconut tree and nothing else. That is called nature. So what is, and like that, when we see even genetics, 40% of what the child is comes from your genes. So even by birth, the child has brought along with him your own genes and the character from your own genetic code. At the same time, 60% of what the child is born from his surrounding as well as from his past. So therefore, to sometimes take too much personal responsibility or to blame oneself for whatever the child is growing to become, sometimes is to blame ourselves too much. At the same time, we have the wonderful opportunity to nurture that nature to take it into a beautiful, wonderful path. So the role that we have right now, of course, there's a nature with which the child is born, but to provide that child with a wonderful environment, with wonderful opportunities, so that the direction that nature takes is most beautifully laid out. Such, in economics, we call it nudge economy. So we nudge the entire society to spend in a particular direction which is beneficial to the entire economy. So what we do with our participation in the child's life is to beautifully nurture our children into directions that are very, very positive and very useful to our child. So many times I ask people, what is the purpose of your life? In very blatant, very harsh terms, the question boils down to, in very, very crude way, the question is, why were you born? That's all. Very fundamental to all our lives. Why were we born? What is that we want to achieve? Why? What is the purpose of our lives? This is the biggest question. I've seen people and people answer, I'm living life, no doubt. I'm working, no doubt. I'm doing hundreds of things, no doubt. But what is the purpose of my life? I've never asked myself. Think about it. Doing 100 things does not mean that we have discovered why we were born, what is the purpose of our life. So the first aspect that we need to identify in ourselves is, why am I born? What am I born to do? What am I born to achieve? There are some very, very smart people who give me answers. Swamiji, to discover the purpose of life is the purpose of life. Of course, yes, in linguistic terms, it sounds very flowery and very beautiful, but it's of no use actually. Because of life is spent in finding the purpose of life, when are we going to fulfill the purpose of life? So the whole point is for us to identify and understand our purpose of life as early as possible. In fact, the quest has to start as early as possible. So what is the purpose of life? When we ask, of course, there is a goal and there is a vision for life. This question is very, very, very deep, and therefore I will keep coming back to it through the entire discussion that we will have. And of course, at the end, we will also have some discussion about it. So probably we'll get a little more understanding of it by the end of this particular session. So the first aspect is that I mentioned each of us are born with a specific nature. And in this life, to manifest that nature to its complete potential is one of the purposes of life. So there is a yearning for ourselves to express, there's a yearning for ourselves to manifest. So in a person who has the nature of a dancer, to manifest that dancer is one of the purposes that that person is born for in this life. So you will see that person naturally drawn to dance. You will see that person naturally expressing dance in every moment of their life. You must have seen in particular percussion instrumentalists, like people who play tabla, people who play mridangam. It doesn't matter where they are sitting. Their fingers will continuously keep playing on the side of the table, on the chair, on somebody's head. The hands will keep playing continuously. Why? Because that ability of playing percussion manifests naturally in that particular person. So one of the reasons why a person is born is to express their own nature. So that bundle of natural abilities, natural inclination, that is called Swadharma. In Bhagavad Gita, the term that is given to that is Swadharma, or natural abilities. And in the children who have been part of this wonderful program, we have seen a natural inclination of all our children towards certain subjects like mathematics or science. And these children have been having exceptional abilities. Not only exceptional abilities, they have been even excelling in the expression of this particular knowledge, to the extent that all of us are surprised by their intelligence. So one thing that these children have been able to identify is their natural instinct, which is their inclination towards mathematics and science. However, let us also understand that these children are growing up. And as the child grows up, it is very natural that different many different aspects of their personality will open up. And probably other interests and other inclinations also may manifest. Sometimes adding on to these interests, or sometimes overpowering these interests also. We don't know what that entire personality of that person has to manifest. It will come up later. So the extreme interest that you see now in your child for mathematics or for science may become stronger, may get what do we call that? May partner with some other interest which your child will have, or probably other interests may come and overpower these interests which your child is having. So the entire life is going to be a journey of discovery as to what our children are going to manifest. However, at this particular point, we all know that our children have this specific special ability, which right now they're expressing as their swadharma. So this is called the natural inclination, natural DNA, mental DNA, which they are all born with. So the first aspect is to discover what they are, is to discover their swadharma. The second part of life, the second level of life is to perfect, is to bring this natural ability into the highest level of perfection possible. It is to bring out the entire potential hidden in that particular person into manifestation. For example, recently I went to Surat and I was invited to visit a diamond cutting factory. So I went there and they showed me some diamond which was not polished actually. And they gave it to me and they placed it into my hand. And they said, Swamiji, this diamond would fetch around 12 crore rupees. That is the value of this diamond. I looked at it and said, this thing 12 crores, impossible. He said, yes, Swamiji, this will fetch us 12 crores. I said, this looks like alum, doesn't look anything like diamond. They said, Swamiji, this is how things come. But when we plan and then when we cut it properly and then when we polish it, the shine of the diamond comes out, and then the worth of the diamond, you will see, is more than that. So too, people are blessed with great talent. But to manifest that ability, to sharpen it, to polish it, and make it the best possible, that is the second step, or that is the second level of achieving the purpose of our lives. So as you have all done, you have given an opportunity for your child to discover that something greater is possible through them. You have brought your children to have these kinds of opportunities where they can learn and they can become better at what they are doing. So this level also you have been doing, and I'm sure with this understanding, you will take your children to higher and higher levels where they will discover how much they can manifest. They will discover to what level their potential exists. So that also is going to happen for all your children. So congratulations for that. Now we talk about the third level. And this third level is the most pertinent of all manifestations. What is important to note is that mathematical or analytical or scientific ability is not the end of everything, is not the end of knowledge. Mathematical, scientific, analytical, observational skills are all abilities or talents. For example, the ability to sing itself is not everything in life. The ability to sing is a talent, is a skill. For example, the ability to speak, the ability to express ideas in an interesting manner, that is a skill, that is a talent. Perfecting the talent makes me more adept at it, makes me more an expert in expressing that skill. But that is not the end of everything. So these abilities that somebody has is a tool in their own hands. For example, somebody is excellent in the area of warfare. Somebody is fantastic at fighting skills. That is also one skill. Like that, many different people are fantastic in their own areas. They are very good at their own skills. However, what makes their life noble, or what makes their life ignoble, is what they employ their talents and abilities and skills for. Let me tell you, even Ravana was so skilled. Ravana's strength was unmatched in the whole world. In the Tulsi Ramayana, they say Ravana's musical skills was so amazing. He was the one who put music, who put the swaras to the entire Vedas. He had the talent, he had the ability, and to the Vedas he added swaras. However, even that amazing engagement and skill did not bring him to use his ability for positive development. Duryodhana was extremely skilled in the art of warfare, as was Yudhishthira, as was Bhima. However, how he put his talent to use, that determines whether the person is noble or whether the person is ignoble. Oppenheimer also had the fantastic ability of intellectual, analytical, observational, scientific, innovative thinking. But the point is, what did he put his talent to use for? So many people have amazing creative abilities. So the question again is, what did that person put their creative abilities to use? That is exactly where our investment has to come in a very, very big manner. Because as much as we can see right now, we can see the level 1 of identifying their Swadharma is almost done. The level 2 of channelizing their potential and manifesting it into the best manner, you've already taken up. And the process will go on, and we are sure that it will happen. But where our attention has to be now is to direct their moral compasses to the right direction to direct their moral compasses to noble goals. So that is where the most important aspect of purpose of life becomes useful. For what are our children using their abilities and talents? That is where the implementation of values and a larger vision of life comes into play. Vision of life is different, abilities and talents are different. Somebody who has got fantastic talent but a wrong vision of life, such a person uses their talent to fulfill a wrong vision of life, destroys the world. Hitler is a classic example of having a wrong vision of life. With all his ability, he brought destruction to the world, brought down the moral compass of the entire world. Is it not? So, along with having the responsibility to nurture talent, it becomes our fundamental and our greatest responsibility to see that that amazing ability that our children have is also directed to noble causes. For to be inspired by noble causes, two aspects that need to come, let me discuss with you. One aspect that we develop in our children is the aspect of humility and respect for everyone. With amazing talent, with great intelligence, there is always the danger of children feeling greatness about themselves and looking down upon every other person. So therefore, one very important aspect to develop in our children is the quality of humility. So now the question is, what is humility? Humility, Swamiji, is being humble. That's called humility. No. That is a change of grammatical expression. Being humble is humility. It doesn't bring out the idea of what is humility. So what is humility? There is a fantastic definition of what is humility. Humility is knowing our own place in the scheme of things in the world. That is called humility. Let me repeat. Knowing our own place in the scheme of things in the world is called humility. It has wonderful two aspects to it. The first aspect is knowing our place, which means only a person who's got self-knowledge, knowledge about oneself, can be humble. A person who does not understand to evaluate themselves, such a person may have low confidence or overconfidence. A person who's got low confidence is not a person who's humble. He's suffering from low confidence. At the same time, the person who's got overconfidence, of course, is not humble. So one thing that our children need to know is the ability to understand and appreciate how good they are. For example, our children may be the best in their school, in their classroom. And that is fantastic. The child need not feel low about themselves in any way. So knowing oneself in the scheme of things, that is the second aspect. In this world, there are many different schemes existing. For example, one scheme is the world of mathematics. Another scheme is the world of dance. Another scheme is the world of singing. Another scheme is the world of art. Another scheme is the world of management, people management. There are millions of schemes in this entire world. And knowing my place in every scheme of things is called humility. So, for example, in mathematical or scientific ability, in this scheme, I am the best. And I know it. That too, in the school that I'm studying, wherever I am the best. Understanding that is humility. At the same time, knowing that, let us say, in the field of dance, someone else is the best, and the ability to appreciate them for being the best, and the readiness to place oneself below them in that scheme of things. That is called humility. I may be the best in mathematics, but somebody else is better than me in dance. Somebody else is better than me in music. Somebody else is better than me in public speaking. Somebody else is amazing at drawing, which I am not. This holistic perspective and understanding of oneself that yes, I've got one particular talent, so too everybody else has different other talents, and many of them are better than me. Just as I am better than many of them with so many other things, others are also better than me in so many other things. That gives rootedness to their lives. That gives them the ability to appreciate life and its beauty in so many different areas. So therefore, one responsibility that we have with our children is to expose our children to greatness of other people also. Just as I appreciate my child for being great at what my child does, it is equally important that I appreciate others and I help my child appreciate greatness in other people. And this brings humility to our children. The second aspect, which is equally and even more important, is the aspect of sensitivity. What our children now excel is what is called the left brain. And the aspect of sensitivity is a very, very strong aspect of the right brain. To feel emotion, to feel empathy, to feel sympathy, to care, and to feel concern for the other is a very, very, very important aspect of the personality with our children should develop. And that can happen through some different ways, a few different ways. For example, exposure and experience of doing something nice for somebody else. Becoming examples of being sensitive towards other people, reaching out to other people becomes a very powerful way of teaching our children to be sensitive and to be responsible towards other living beings as well. In our culture, the practice is taught to mothers even when their children are babies. So it is said, when a beggar comes home, asking for food or asking for money, the mother is supposed to have her child on her hip and then give money or give food to that beggar. So that even as a baby, the child learns this is how I should live in my life. When going to temples, when we put money in the hundi, the parents are taught to give the money in the hands of the children, and the children are asked to give that donation. So that the children learn from childhood that I am supposed to be a contributor to society. Living a life of self-aggrandizement is not the glory of life. But to live productively with all my talent, bringing it out to manifestation for the society's benefit. So that my talent becomes useful to the whole world, that value needs to be nurtured in all our children. Erik Erikson is a psychologist who was the disciple of the great psychologist who is considered the father of psychology. I just forgot his name, but it's okay that we forget his name. That's done. However, Erik Erikson talks about 8 stages of psychosocial development. And in that, he says the age from 6 to 13 is the age where one's personality, the self identity, personality is being strengthened. It is getting formed, it is getting concretized as to who I am. That is getting manifest between 6 and 30. So the whole point is, how do we want them to shape their idea of themselves is crucial in this particular age gap. Do they want to define themselves and their own purpose of life as self-aggrandizement, living life for their own joys, living life for their own comforts and happiness, having goals which is only for selfish purposes, or understanding that I have a higher purpose as part of this entire universe? I have a greater responsibility to fulfill as part of this society, as part of this creation. That responsibility lies upon even us by our nurturing. And if this can get strong into our children, we will be creating a wonderful generation of powerful thinkers, wonderful generation of great intellectuals who not only have the brilliance to think of a plan and manifest it, but also have a deep, responsible vision which is noble and which can benefit this entire world. So these 2 responsibilities of one, creating humility, and second, generating sensitivity in our children lies upon us, the parents. So what are the ways to do that? I was speaking to an army general. People in the army are those who are trained and ready to give their lives for the country. And their readiness to give even their lives for the country is amazing. I'm in the field of education, so I asked him, how do you generate this kind of inspiration? And he said, Swamiji, we tell stories. We just tell stories of the army men who came earlier. And listening to these stories, these boys are so inspired that they want to go a step further than what their predecessors have achieved. Stories are powerful. And when we tell our children the right stories, when our children can get exposed to the right kind of biographies, then in our children gets embedded noble ideals, noble thoughts, and noble values. What in computer language, what goes in, that is what comes out. So it is very, very important for us to shape the lives of these children in most beautiful and amazing manner. In this thought, of course, Chinmaya Mission and many other organizations, not only Chinmaya Mission, organize value classes for children right from the age of 4, 5 until they become youth. Just as we send our children to classes to sharpen their skills, it would be beneficial in fulfilling our responsibility by sending them, by exposing them to classes of values as well. It would be important for us to let our children spend time in developing their sensitive aspect of personality, so that they grow up to become very, very balanced. They grow up to become holistic people, not only sharpened to their teeth with the abilities and strength that they have, but also blossom in their heart with the most wonderful qualities. So this is one important aspect of parenting, which I thought I should share with all your parents, as parents of very, very intelligent and talented children. Ultimate is the spiritual aspect of life, which of course needs a lot more time to discuss, which of course needs a lot more, what do we call that, thought to be put in. But when this is manifested, the greatest of things will come. So with this, it's 7:50 and I would stop here. In case we have any questions to take, we can take questions. I always say questions are not compulsory, but however, in case there are questions, we can discuss and deliberate. And second thing that I always say is I don't have all the answers. But in case I have something to share and I have something to know, I will surely share. So in case we have any questions to take, we can take that up. Over to Vinay and over to all of you who have been here for this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. I have a question, but before that, if anybody has any question to ask, feel free to do a raise hand or unmute and ask. All right, so let me start. So, Swamiji, you spoke about Swadharma, our innate nature and ability. And these days, there is also a lot of talk about we being a generation where our parents had to do all the struggle and we kind of got all the comfort. So we have a lot of choice. But our parents seldom had choices and they kind of settled in jobs, whatever that came to their plate. So we now say that, okay, we need to pursue something that we love, that we are passionate about, and so on and so forth. But there is also this tricky thing about hobbies, likings, and what we need to pursue as our career. And especially when somebody has multiple skills. For example, somebody may say, I like photography, I like traveling, but that may not be something that they should be pursuing as a profession. That could be for somebody, but not for everybody. So how do we dissect this, and how do we understand what is our swadharma versus what are our likings and hobbies?
Fine. So here, of course, the question is very, very pertinent, because in particular, I'm so sorry, in particular, in children's career and lives, it is so important in this particular generation. The society comes through different generations. So there was a generation which had no choice, because food was the most important. So whatever job that they got, they had to take up, and they do, because food was important. Then came a generation which told the next generation, I did this, you are born to me, do this. Why? Because success formula, it worked for me, it will work for you. So we are lucky to be born in a generation where we have the freedom and security to explore. So we are not an unlucky generation. We are a lucky generation, no doubt. With that also comes variety and complexities of choice. Earlier was the time of small petty shops where we had two soaps. Either it was Hammam or it was Lifebuoy. So choose between one of them and take bath. Things were quite simple. Today is the life of supermarket. So therefore, going there and getting confused with all of it is quite natural. So too with the exposure of life, it is quite natural that we have so many choices and we get confused between them. However, what is the method? Fine. In scientific terms, there are certain scientific tools that have been developed. For example, different methods of brain mapping has been used. So there are people who have even won Nobel Prizes for certain tools that they have developed in order to discover people's core competencies. No doubt people are talented in 10 things, yet this is what that particular person is drawn to. So those can be discovered by certain tools which are available online, which are available with even counselors, which are available with different people, and there are quite authentic tools. So we should take help of such tools. Secondly, what is the best? Ultimately, even these tools rely upon the responses we give to the questions that the tools put forward to us. So certain tools ask 30 questions, certain tools ask 45 questions, and those responses are analyzed. That is how the tools try to find out what we are good at. So ultimately, the answers we give are going to determine everything. So what is important is to get more and more clarity about what we really are. So the ultimate answer lies in self-understanding and self-knowledge. Many times, fascination on looking at others' achievements makes us feel this is what I also want. Why do you want to be a doctor? My friend's father is a doctor. He goes in a BMW. I love BMW. So I also want to be a doctor. So this is called fascination of a desire and not fascination of being a doctor. So when we guide our child through the maze of such fascinations, sit with the child and ask the child, why do you want to do this? What do you think you're going to derive from taking this up? Coming to the root of the whole thing as to the deep sense of fulfillment, deep sense of purpose, which the person feels when manifesting it. Irrespective of the level of success, irrespective of the level of achievement, when the person knows this is what I want to do in life, so that maze of confusion has to be slowly and slowly and slowly cleared through our own discussions with our child. So ask your children, what fascinates you about it? Ask your children, what do you feel when you do it? Do you love it because of the appreciation and the attention that you're getting because of the success? How will you feel when you are defeated in those same talents? Will you still pursue it? Will you still love it? So like that, the mire of fascinations and desires have to be taken down, and they need to go deeper and deeper and deeper and discover themselves as to what they are and why they want to do it. For example, I myself, sometimes what happens is life has its own way. When we are open to life and when we are open to change, life brings us to what we really, really ultimately want to do. When I studied so many different things, probably, and ultimately Vinay has come to do what he really, really wants to do and what he really, really loves to do. So being truthful to what we want to do brings us now itself or brings us later on to what we really value in our life. To be truthful to what we do, our inner voice can help us do it. So that is what I understand. So please use the counseling tools that are available. At the same time, take them deeper to think about themselves and their aspirations. That will help.
Thank you, Swamiji. I think that you put it very in simple words. To use what is best in modern times as well as introspect and reflect.
Correct. Yeah.
Vallabh's parents have questions.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Karthik, Vallabh's father. Swamiji, I think I raised my hand before you answered Vinay sir's question, and so I am trying to rephrase what I thought of. You know, when children are interested in more than one field, which is what I deal with Vallabh. He is very interested in maths. He is very interested in something completely opposite, cricket. And I understand when you say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Are you happy? How do we help him get that balance? You know, because I have seen him in both sides, very frankly. And he gives it us all in both. He's equally passionate about both. And up to a point in time, he's young, and up to a point in time, he can sustain both. We can sustain both, maybe longer than him, but he can sustain both up to a point in time. How do we help him make a choice? As in, what would you think? I know you said use tools. I don't think the tools are going to help in such a case, because it's not that he has a lot of. And at what? So let me ask it in two ways. How do we help him make the choice? Is there something that we should encourage him to think about. We can do that. And second is, at what point in time in life, because there is always a time element to this, both whether it is math, whether it is his cricket, whether it is someone else's something else, there is a time in life. So how do we get him to understand that? Those would be my two
Yes,
open-ended questions.
yes. So here, see, even these tools that are to be employed, they say the age to be applying these tools very effectively is 15 or above.
Okay.
It is not at 6, it is not at 10.
Okay.
Biologically, the brain that we have, okay, the frontal lobe, which is the most complex of the entire system, the frontal lobe finally gets built when the person is 19 years old.
Okay.
Right? So the frontal lobe is responsible for all complex decisions. So all long-term decisions, what am I going to do for my life, is a very, very, very pertinent decision to make. And for that, even until 15, 16, they don't have the physical brain to determine that. This is the reason why even complex things as marriage, complex things as voting, complex things as decision to even take alcohol, it's a very, very powerful decisions to make. They say 18 is your age. Because by 18, at least you have the physical apparatus to start thinking. Maturity may come much later for people that we don't know. But the physical apparatus is available only then. Right? And at 19, something really, really fascinating happens to the brain. What happens is all the childhood parts of the brain, which are not required now, they get trimmed off. When I'm using the word trimmed off, I'm meaning literally trimmed off. So many different aspects of the brain, which the person doesn't want, automatically starts getting trimmed off. You will see extreme transitions of people in the age 19 to 22. The person was extremely introvert, suddenly the person manifests the extroverted nature. Turns completely, right? Sometimes they were so extroverted, suddenly they become introverted. Earlier, they were never studious, suddenly they become really, really amazing and studious. And this we have seen even from our schools. So this child went out of school as an average student, and then they come back saying, Swamiji, I'm a researcher and I'm doing amazing research in some big company in San Jose. I look at them, I said, you? He said, Swamiji, yes, me. So you see, human development in psychological areas and psychological spheres, right, happens with time. So the point is, please give time. Fine. Let us not put our children through the pressure of having to decide now. There's a natural process of growth, natural process of evolution, right? Let the child pursue both. The child is able to pursue both now, so don't discourage him. And let him or let her explore as many more areas as possible. Because probably what the child wants to do in life is yet not explored. We don't know. So give the child the freedom as much as the child wants, let the child explore. And let's remember, our child need not succeed in everything as the child is succeeding in one area.
No, I think that's a very fair statement, and I don't think that was the thought process. It was the debate, right? A versus B. Given the two extremes, that was the debate in the head. We have been telling him to do both, to be honest. In fact, I think we asked very stupid questions of Vinay sir, saying, "Can he do this? Can he do that?" And he was like, "Well," so it's okay. We will try that. Thank you.
And second point, let me tell you one more thing. See, I'll give the example of one particular student who studied in CIRS. So this boy was so passionate about cricket. Fine. He wanted to play cricket for the Indian cricket team. So much so that during the 10th standard exam time, he would wear his entire cricket gear and run rounds around the track. So passionate he was. Fine. Somehow time was not in his favor. He played for Baroda, under 19 he played, but that's all that he could go. That's the level he could play. But his passion for cricket continued. He went on to study strength and conditioning course. He was the 49th in the country to finish that course. And you know what he's doing now? He's the strength and conditioning coach of the Indian cricket team. He's coaching Virat Kohli. He's coaching Bhuvneshwar Kumar. He's coaching, what do you call that? Jasprit Bumrah. He's coaching Hardik Pandya, and everybody he's coaching. He is helping them become the best that they can be. So he took up academics and his passion for cricket continued, and he is contributing so much to the country. He never thought he would become a coach earlier, right? But when things came up, he did what he needed to do, and he is doing amazing in the field that he loves. So let's give time and give them enough exposure and encourage them. Automatically, nature will bring them to what they want to do. Other things will drop off slowly, or they will collaborate into the person. For example, we have people who are playing tabla and who are fantastic mathematicians also, right? Both they are carrying and taking forward. One becomes hobby, one becomes their profession and main engagement. So both are also possible. So life has its own ways. So let's give them time and let's.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sindhuji has a question.
Before that, if I may just put a small comment, Swamiji.
Yes.
So there is this mathematician by the name Ken Ono from University of Virginia. He is also passionate about swimming, and he uses mathematics and statistics to analyze swimming styles of swimmers, and then he coaches them to improve their swimming styles for optimization. And what we see of late is the students from his university go and win all the medals. So his passion for swimming and mathematics. I was just, I was reminded of him when you said they all converge to one person sometimes. So yes. So Sindhu, yes. Sindhu has a question, and after that, I'll request Sindhu to also give the vote of thanks for this session.
Hari Om Swamiji, thank you so much. As parents, we are so consumed by, the college admissions, the best math camps that they can get into, that we forget what the big picture should be. And thank you for coming back again this year. You were there for the first year and setting our bearings straight. I hope you come back next year and talk to us as well as the children as well. Thank you so much, Swamiji. I did also have a question. Is there a camp that you run for children, teenagers, or 12 to 18 years old, which takes care of some of these things that you're talking about, that we could perhaps send our children to? And could you tell us a little bit about that camp?
So Chinmaya Mission runs regular classes. Fine. One thing is to attend a camp once a year, 3-4 days, and then come back. But what is more influential is continuous association with these ideas. So Swami Chinmayanji started weekly classes, and they're called Bal Vihar, Chinmaya Bal Vihars. Fine. It happens all over the country, and wherever you are staying, I'm sure there are such classes happening in your vicinity as well. In somebody's home, somebody is conducting these classes. So Vinay, of course, is a part of Chinmaya mission as well. So he will be able to guide you on sending your children to these regular classes. Because what is regular has a greater powerful impact, a lasting impact than what is done once in a while. So having talked about these regular classes, we also conduct a lot of summer camps. So every place, every center of Chinmaya Mission runs these camps, and they're all available. So depending on where you're staying, which city you're staying, we can guide you to those camps. So in those cities, the Chinmaya Mission Center advertises and publishes details of this camp in their own ways. But if you would like to particularly know, we can surely guide you to that particular Chinmaya Mission Center, and your children can attend the camp. Camps in Bombay are very, very popular. Chennai does something called a cool camp. So 700 children participate for 7 days in that cool camp. And they also have, in December, they've got a camp, which again, 600, 700 children participate. In Bombay, they do regular camps. They take them to Pune, where we have a place called Chinmaya Vibhuti. So there they have so many programs, things happen in Powai, Chinmaya Mission place also. I mean, so many such programs are available for us to join. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Swamiji, I would just like to add on to that. I think Sindhu was asking, are there any camps that you conduct for the teenagers?
Don't worry. I am one of the many brilliant people in Chinmaya Mission. Right? And not that I am very brilliant. The point is, I am one of the many who are fantastic. And I'm sure you will be so much benefited by all their camps. I don't conduct Balvihar camps as such, but I'm engaged in organizing youth camps. In particular, I organize this program called Global Youth Camp. So we have the Chinmaya Yuva Kendra, which is the youth wing of Chinmaya Mission. So every December in Chinmaya International Residential School, we organize what is called Global Youth Camp. So youngsters from actually 18 to 30 years, 35 years old, they come from different parts of the world, and we organize that here. So that is one thing that happens. But apart from that, my time goes in organizing many other things and doing many other things. However, I stay in Chinmaya International Residential School. So we have children from class 5 to class 12. So that way, I'm not conducting a camp. I am running a residential school itself, where children can be with me 24 hours, not a little time or for a camp. So they are not on camp, they are on campus. So that is how things happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. In fact, I met Swamiji in 2009 when the second Global Yuva Kendra camp was happening. And I have to admit that my first public speaking happened in that camp. So I was really scared to go onto the stage and speak. But then we were split into small groups, and each group had to make presentations. And all these kids, they had come from different parts of the world, everyone having a different accent. And I was even scared to speak in English in front of them. So that was my first public speaking thing. And I think that really built a lot of confidence in me at that time. So even now I remember the stage when I was on stage.
So
It
is
was a
that
great
the
experience.
global camp, chick camp, the junior
Yes,
chick
yes.
camp, and that happens every December.
Not junior. I wasn't
Okay.
junior then.
Okay.
Quite senior still. But public speaking was very difficult for me. I was not used to speaking in the public or anything. So this was for the 18. But there is a pre-teenagers, I mean, camp also. I mean, pre-Yuva Kendra camp also. That also happens at Coimbatore, right, Swamiji?
Correct. However, this year it's not happening this year. This year actually.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much, Swamiji, once again for coming and doing this session with all of us. It was really amazing listening to you, and I've noted a lot of points. And as a parent, I'm really thankful to you. And of course, as part of Raising a Mathematician Foundation, we really extend our humble pranams and thanks to you. I know, it's not like usually how they given the vote of thanks out of your busy schedule. You have taken up time. I really know how caught up you were until yesterday, and today is just one day gap, and then tomorrow onwards you are on a different engagement. But Swamiji never says no for any request. He has always been kind to us. So thank you, Swamiji, for sharing these valuable thoughts. I'm sure all of these thoughts will sink into our minds, and hopefully we'll be able to help our children to find their purpose. And in that process, we'll also figure out our purpose in life. Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you very much for being here. Hari Om. Hari Om. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.